The idea of opening a VR travel agency came to me on a rainy evening when the city outside my window felt smaller than ever. Flights were expensive, time was limited, and yet my desire to explore the world kept growing. I wondered, what if travel didn't require packing a suitcase or crossing borders? What if curiosity alone was enough? That night, I put on my virtual reality headset and found myself standing in the middle of a quiet Japanese garden. The gravel crunched under my feet. Cherry blossoms floated gently through the air, and distant temple bells echoed with a serene rhythm. When I removed the headset, my room felt strangely empty. That contrast sparked a powerful thought. VR was not just entertainment, it was a new kind of journey. I began researching obsessively. I studied immersive design, 360-degree filming, spatial audio, and storytelling techniques. I realized that people didn't just want realistic images, they wanted meaningful experiences. They wanted to feel present, connected, and emotionally involved. That was when my VR travel agency started to take shape, not as a business focused on destinations, but as one focused on stories. I named it Beyond Borders VR. My mission was simple: to help people travel through time, culture, and imagination without leaving their homes. My first tour was ancient Rome. Users didn't just walk through the Colosseum, they listened to a virtual guide explain daily Roman life, heard merchants arguing in the marketplace, and watched the sunset from a hill overlooking the city. The early days were difficult. Creating high quality VR content required patience and meticulous attention to detail. Sometimes the technology failed, sometimes the scenes felt empty, and sometimes users felt dizzy or disconnected. But with every challenge, I learned. I listened carefully to feedback, adjusted the pacing, improved narration, and refined the emotional flow of each journey. Slowly, people began to talk about the experience. Teachers used it in classrooms. Language learners practiced English while exploring historical worlds. Elderly users revisited places they thought they would never see again. I realized that my VR travel agency was becoming something larger than I had imagined. It wasn't replacing real travel, it was expanding access to wonder. One message stayed with me deeply. A user wrote, "I can't travel anymore, but tonight I walked through Paris again. Thank you for giving me that memory." At that moment, I understood that this agency wasn't built on technology alone, it was built on empathy, creativity, and the human need to explore. As Beyond Borders VR grew, my vision expanded beyond famous landmarks. I wanted users to experience places that no longer existed or never existed at all. Soon, our agency began offering impossible journeys. One week, users explored the Library of Alexandria before its destruction. The next, they walked through a future city powered entirely by renewable energy. The most popular feature became guided narrative travel. Instead of simply observing, users became part of the story. In one experience, they played the role of a young explorer learning English while navigating a bustling port city. In another, they were journalists documenting life on a distant Mars colony. Language learning, history, and imagination blended seamlessly. Running a VR travel agency taught me something important. Travel is not about distance, it's about perspective. People didn't leave our experiences thinking, I saw something cool. They left thinking, I understand something new. They reflected on cultural differences, environmental responsibility, and the value of human connection. Of course, ethical questions emerged. Could virtual travel make people less interested in protecting real world locations? Could it replace genuine human encounters? I chose to address these concerns directly within the experiences themselves. Some journeys included moments of reflection, encouraging users to consider sustainability, respect for cultures, and the importance of real world action. One of my proudest projects was Voices of the World, where users travel to different regions and listen to real stories from local people, farmers, artists, teachers, sharing their hopes and challenges. VR became a bridge, not a barrier. Looking ahead, I see my VR travel agency evolving into a global learning platform. With advances in AI, future guides will respond naturally to questions. With improved haptics, users may feel the warmth of sunlight or the texture of ancient stone. Yet, no matter how advanced the technology becomes, the heart of the agency will remain the same: storytelling with purpose. When I think back to that rainy evening when this journey began, I smile. I didn't just create a business, I created a doorway for anyone, anywhere, to step into another world, learn through experience, and return with a deeper understanding of our own. In the end, my VR travel agency taught me the most important lesson of all. You don't have to go far to travel deeply. As the VR travel agency matured, I began noticing something unexpected. People were not only enjoying the journeys, they were changing because of them. Emails and voice messages arrived daily, each one revealing how virtual travel had quietly influenced real decisions, emotions, and ambitions. One teacher explained how shy students became more confident after guiding classmates through a virtual city in English. A young professional shared that after experiencing our Life in Nordic Countries tour, she decided to study environmental science. Another user told me that Walking through a virtual refugee camp helped him understand global inequality in a way no article ever could. These stories made me realize that virtual travel was not an escape from reality, it was a mirror reflecting it more clearly. To support this deeper impact, I redesigned the agency's experiences. Each journey now followed a clear narrative arc: curiosity, immersion, reflection, and action. At the end of every tour, users were invited to pause and think. What did they learn? How did this place connect to their own lives? What could they do differently after returning to the real world? I also expanded our collaborations. Historians helped us recreate lost civilizations accurately. Linguists ensured that dialogue sounded natural and culturally respectful. Psychologists advised on how immersive environments could encourage empathy rather than overwhelm. The VR travel agency slowly transformed into a multidisciplinary space where technology and humanity worked together. One of the most challenging projects was Everyday Lives. There were no famous landmarks, no dramatic music, no grand monuments. Users simply followed a normal day in the life of people from different cultures. A baker opening a shop before sunrise, a child walking to school through crowded streets, a nurse ending a long night shift. Surprisingly, this became one of our most powerful experiences. Users said it made the world feel smaller and more connected. Financial success followed, but it never became the primary goal. I reinvested profits into accessibility, developing lightweight VR modes for older devices and subtitles for language learners. Travel, even virtual travel, should never be limited to the privileged. That belief guided every decision. There were moments of doubt. Technology evolved quickly, competitors appeared, and trends shifted. Yet the core idea remained strong. As long as people wanted to understand the world beyond their immediate surroundings, the VR travel agency had a purpose. Late at night, after everyone logged off, I sometimes revisited the very first virtual garden I had experienced years ago. It reminded me where everything began: a simple desire to explore, transformed into a shared journey for thousands of people across the globe. Looking toward the future, I no longer see my VR travel agency as a destination based service. I see it as an evolving ecosystem of learning, imagination, and connection. The question is no longer where do you want to go, but what do you want to understand? New experiences are being designed around global challenges. Users can step into future cities affected by climate change, participate in virtual peace negotiations, or explore how technology reshapes daily life. These journeys are not predictions, but invitations to think critically about the paths humanity may choose. Artificial intelligence now plays a larger role. Virtual guides adapt their language level to each user, making the agency especially valuable for English learners. Beginners receive simple explanations, while advanced learners engage in complex discussions. Travel becomes an interactive conversation rather than a passive experience. Despite these innovations, I am careful not to let technology overshadow authenticity. Every story is grounded in real human voices. We record interviews, collect memories, and transform them into immersive narratives. The goal is not perfection, but truth, not spectacle, but meaning. Sometimes people ask whether virtual travel will replace real travel entirely. I always answer the same way. It should not. Instead, it should prepare people to travel better, with more respect, curiosity, and awareness. If someone visits a country after experiencing it in VR, asking better questions and listening more carefully, then the agency has succeeded. On a personal level, this journey has reshaped my own identity. I no longer see myself as just a creator or entrepreneur. I am a storyteller, a bridge builder, and a lifelong traveler who understands that movement does not always require motion. The VR travel agency continues to grow, but I still treat every new experience as if it were the first. I ask the same questions I did at the beginning. Does this inspire curiosity? Does it encourage empathy? Does it help people see the world and themselves a little more clearly? When users remove their headsets and return to their rooms, classrooms, or offices, I hope they carry something with them. Not just images of distant places, but a renewed sense of connection to the shared human story. That, in the end, is what my VR travel agency was always meant to be. Not a replacement for the world, but a deeper introduction to it.